Welcome to the Foothills, a Colorado lifestyle and real estate podcast featuring mountain home real estate broker Robert Martin, who has over 25 years of experience assisting clients reach their goals and move forward. Tune in each week for a dynamic conversation with experts, Colorado adventurers, and residents that explores the ins, outs, and specific nuances of buying the perfect mountain home or selling your dream home in Evergreen, Conifer, Bailey, and surrounding areas to catch a glimpse into the Colorado lifestyle that's a part of you.
Thanks for tuning in today. Our guest is Alison Dunlap. Alison, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
Well, tell me about your background, Alison, and how you got into cycling and mountain biking.
Well, I'm a Colorado native, and I grew up playing soccer. And then I went to Colorado College, and they were a Division I powerhouse in women's soccer at the time. And I had the dream of, playing Division I soccer. And I ended up getting cut from the team, and it kind of threw me into a tailspin. And I was like, all panicked. I was going to gain the freshman 15 and get all fat and out of shape. So I was frantically trying to find something else to do. And I saw a sign up for the cycling team, or it's a cycling club. And I thought, well, shoot, I know how to ride a bike. And so I went to the first meeting, and it was a room full of 35 guys, and they were all bike racers, and they all had shaved legs. And I was the only girl. And I was just like, sign me up.
Wow.
So I just joined the cycling club because it sounded interesting, but not knowing anything about cycling. And it wasn't part of my growing up, except maybe watching the Coors Classic. And I just loved it, and it just fit, and I started to do well and enjoyed it. And it just kind of exploded from there.
But you had done some cycling prior to that, but it was fairly new otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I'd done a couple of bike tours with the Girl Scouts, but not really, didn't know much about bike racing or, the training or the fitness involved.
Did you have a bike?
I did have a bike, actually. When I graduated from high school, my grandparents, for my graduation present, gave me a bike. And when I went and picked it out, I chose a bike that kind of had that racing look to it. And because it just looked really cool, and it looked like a fast, light bike. And so I was lucky in that when I started with the cycling club, I did have a bike that was actually more of a race bike.
Mostly road biking, or was it mostly mountain biking, or was it a combination? Or
it was, I'd say, mostly road biking. And I didn't know anything about mountain biking at that time, but I dated a guy who was a mountain biker and kind of showed me and taught me, what mountain biking was all about. And that would have been more like my sophomore and junior year. But collegiate cycling at that point was only road racing. And so when I did start racing for Colorado College, it was just road, and I was just road all the way through my 4 years there.
what differentiates the two, Alison, for the most part, road biking and mountain biking? I know they're quite different.
Well, the road is obviously, ridden on the road. It's, if you ever watch the Tour de France, it's like, not at that same level, but, you're racing with a group of people, and it's fast, it's dangerous. There's crashes, you're dealing with traffic. And then mountain biking is all on dirt, and the bike itself is different. The tires are bigger, the geometry is different, the frame, everything is very different, but it's still a bike, and the training is similar, and the fitness is similar, skill set quite different. Again, mountain biking, you have to learn how to go over roots and trees and obstacles and negotiate a lot of technical things, whereas on the road, there's a lot of technical riding on the road bike as well. You have to know how to corner your bike and avoid cars and potholes, and have to know how to descend safely. So both kind of complement each other, but both are quite different.
So when you're on a road bike, is it, when you're drafting in a team, is it more of a team thing where you try to work together, and is it more individualized when you're mountain biking? Or?
Yeah, the road side of the sport is much more team oriented, which I really enjoyed. And when you watch the Tour de France, they have a team captain, and then they have everyone else is helping and working hard towards, getting that team captain, on the top step of the podium. And then mountain biking is just you against the elements, or you against your competitors. And there's really nothing your teammate can do for you. I mean, there's rare occasions when a teammate might be able to draft or sit in front of you and create a draft, or hand you a water bottle if you lose yours, but pretty much you're out there on your own.
Yeah, you did initially, after you did your Olympic stint, and you did some training, and do you still do that mentoring and technical training for mountain biking, or mentoring, or how is that working out for you?
I started a business where I did a lot of coaching for people that were racing. And then I also did mountain bike and road skills clinics. And I did that for many, many years. I have stopped doing the clinics, and I do a little bit of coaching, but I went back to school for 3 years, and now I'm a physical therapist assistant.
Yeah. Why did you decide to start a new career as a physical therapist assistant?
I just got tired of kind of the unpredictable income with coaching and clinics. And a lot of that is on the weekends, especially clinics. They're always Saturdays and Sundays. And, athletes always call you Friday night and Saturday night because they're racing. And it's hard. Working from home is awesome, but it's also a curse because you pretty much have to be accessible and available 7 days a week.
24/7, yeah.
Right. And so, I would have many conversations Friday night, and I don't want to be talking to people on Friday night. I want to be hanging out with my family. And I would go on trips, and I would have to bring my laptop because I would be like, well, I got to update 4 coaching programs, and I have 3 athletes racing, and I got to talk to. And so, yeah, I just kind of got tired of that.
No, I get that. It's, lifestyle and quality of life. And like you said, when we got on the call, you just spent some time in Moab with family. So it's nice to be able to have the flexibility to do that. How has your background in cycling helped with your new career?
Actually, quite a bit, especially the coaching, which was a nice compliment that I didn't fully expect, because I'm very skilled at writing training programs and progressing athletes through, periodization, and, how do you adjust something to make it harder, but not too hard, so that they make adaptations, but they don't get overtrained. So that same principle applies with patients. When you're, say, doing a knee replacement and you're trying to rehab, there's a certain progression to the rehab. You can't start with, heavy weightlifting on the second week after a knee replacement. So it was very helpful to know how to do that. And then the psychology involved with coaching is the same when you're dealing with patients. You're a lot of, talking about goals and encouraging them to stay focused and not to get discouraged. And, it's a little bit at a time. Don't look at the big picture, look at the little picture. And, oh, why didn't you do your PT? Well, my boyfriend just broke up with me. And, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Deal with that in coaching too.
So a lot of the same things just translate from one to the other, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like, Alison, to compete in mountain biking in the Olympics? And when and where did you compete?
Well, in the 96 Olympics, I went as a road racer. And then in the Sydney Olympics, I went as mountain biking. And both were incredible. I got to march in the opening ceremonies of both Olympics. And the road race wasn't a great day. It rained the whole time, and I didn't feel that great on the bike. But the whole experience was just something you can't really describe. And especially being in Atlanta, Georgia, so it's your home country. And then Sydney was amazing just because you're in Sydney, Australia. And then mountain biking was a very hard technical course. And I had an amazing day. I clipped a tree, had a little bad luck, and ended up in 7th. But at one point I was in 2nd. And, I still dream about what would have happened if I hadn't hit that tree. And it's just fun to, think about that whole experience and just sort of wonder, would have been different. Would my life be different now if I had gotten an Olympic medal?
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I know it, as opportunities go by, and what a great experience that must have been for you. Was mountain biking kind of a new sport back then in the Olympics, or?
No, the first Olympics mountain biking was 96 in
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay.
So when I went, I was 4 years old, but it had been, they've been racing the World Cup circuit for, years and years before it actually finally made it into the Olympics.
Gotcha. What was it like being inducted into the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame?
Oh, huge honor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really a very moving experience, and, just really cool to know that, your achievements and what you did in the sport, now is going to be kind of remembered for eternity, and that it had, you had an impact, and hopefully you're influencing, a lot of young women out there, young boys, and, making the sport better.
When you're out biking, do people recognize you at times, and do you find yourself wanting to give them pointers, or
it depends?
Enjoying
Some
yourself?
people, you'll ride by and I'll hear, oh, that's Alison Dunlap, and it makes me smile.
Yeah, for sure.
And then some people have no idea, and they'll look at you and be like, oh, do you know how to mountain bike, or are you a sponsored athlete? And, you're covered head to toe, and, whatever your sponsor is. And, the person is obviously has no idea, but you get both. And I've been recognized by random people in King Soopers, and, at cycling events, I get recognized a lot more frequently. But, the day-to-day general public in Colorado Springs, maybe in Denver, has heard of my name, but not like a, hockey or a basketball superstar.
Yeah, I'm sure, if you follow the sport and you're into mountain biking, then certainly more aware of things going on. So if I just wanted to get into cycling, and where's a good place to start and how? I mean, I guess just get a bike and go out, and you want to have some technical skills, obviously, when you get on the trails, if you're mountain biking, and have some knowledge of the trail, that sort of thing. Is it good to know exactly what you're riding prior to getting on the trail and having a good idea what that trail looks like?
Oh, yeah. And I think the smart thing when you get a mountain bike is to sign up for a skills clinic, or, hire somebody to give you a private lesson for 2 hours, or even the bike shop, where you buy your mountain bike. Sometimes we'll give you just basic, some basic skills, basic maintenance. This is how you set your bike up. This is how it works, how you shift, how you brake, and then be proactive with finding trails. There's so much information on the internet now. You can take a trail and you Google it, and it'll tell you, how hard and what to expect, and length, and how technical, and, read up on that stuff, and start with trails that are easy and slowly work up to stuff. It's no different than learning how to ski. I mean, you don't jump on a double black when you're brand new. Same with mountain biking. And most of us, I think, when we learn to ski, we automatically assume we're going to take a lesson or two. But with mountain biking, a lot of people don't, and they just figured, well, I know how to ride a bike, and how hard can this be? And they, they crash and they get injured, and then they have a lot of fear and anxiety, and then they're like, well, this is a dumb sport. Why do I don't enjoy this? So my biggest recommendation is have somebody help you, whether it's a friend or you sign up for a clinic.
Yeah, it's good knowledge. Do anything new, whether you're playing golf or, like I said, skiing, or doing that, to have some knowledge or information about what you're doing. So you don't do any more training or coaching, or do you do that if people are interested? Or
I do a little coaching. Bit. I have a couple athletes, but
yeah.
I'm not actively pursuing to, increase my athlete load.
Gotcha. Do you have any favorite trails outside of Denver, or that you like to? I mean, different levels of, hard ones and easy ones, or some that come to mind?
There's a ton of good riding in Summit County. The Colorado Trail, as it goes over Georgia Pass and then down into Breckenridge, is a classic. The Monarch Crest Trail down off of Monarch Pass is probably my favorite.
Why is that?
It's just got a little of everything, high alpine, above tree line riding, super hard climbing, really fun, long, sustained descents. And I just love that type of riding. Crested Butte, Steamboat, they all have amazing trails. And especially now with the fall colors, it's just my most favorite time to ride.
Yeah, I'll bet. We just got back from Vermont. We were there for a week and got to see a lot of different colors, the things we don't really see here. The maples are really popping red. Mm-hmm. They're absolutely beautiful. So what else do you like to do outside, Alison, other than mountain biking? Do you do a lot of other outdoor activities? Or
we do a lot of hiking, backpacking. I have a big golden doodle, so I take him out quite a bit. And then in the wintertime, we ski. I telemark ski in the winter, and we do a lot of backcountry hut trips. My son and I do a lot of rock climbing, but that's indoors. We go to a local gym. Yeah, just love to be active and love to be outside here in Colorado.
Yeah, there's so much to do. There's a little bit for everybody, excuse me. And living up here in the foothills, you kind of live with amongst all of it and the animals and that sort of thing. So the podcast is also about buying real estate. So do you have any tips for folks that are possibly looking at Colorado? Maybe they're on the East Coast, they're thinking about moving. Any ideas or thoughts on they're thinking about purchasing real estate in the state?
Just do your research, based on what you love to do. Find places to live that are going to be suitable for, if you like to ride mountain bike, then you don't want to buy a home, way out east in Aurora. You want to buy something in, Genesee or Green Mountain or, in the foothills. And, you have to know your price limit and what you're willing to spend and pay. But I think it's really quality of life and finding an area that's going to complement what you love and are passionate about.
Yeah, I very much agree. It is about quality of life and where you want to be. Well, is there anything you'd like to add, Alison, before we go, or anything that we didn't touch on?
Gosh, it's just, Colorado's a great place and there's so much that it has to offer. And it's just, taking a little extra time to find where that is. And once you get there, then find the community of what you like to do, the climbing community or the hiking or skiing or whatever it is. There's so many people out there that would love to share and teach and be a part of, someone else learning. And it's all there, it's all available, but you have to have a little motivation on your part to find all that.
What if somebody wanted to go and just read more about you? Where'd be a good place they could get more information?
You can just type my name in, Alison Dunlap, and you'll pull up thousands of articles and photos and that kind of stuff. My website, I wouldn't say is very current because I haven't updated it in a really long time, but there's a lot of stuff on the internet right now.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Alison. I appreciate your time and for sharing your stories, and I hope you have a good day.
Thanks.
To the Foothills, a Colorado lifestyle and real estate podcast. On the podcast, I interview real estate experts, Colorado adventurers, and residents who enjoy the serenity and lifestyle of living in our mountain communities. Tune in each week for a conversation that explores the ins and outs of buying the perfect mountain home or selling your dream home, and catch a glimpse into the Colorado lifestyle that's a part of you.